Hey, I'm Diane Prince, and today we're going to talk about how to get business-to-business sales for your business. So how can you get business sales quickly? What's the fastest way? What is the fastest to money? So if you're watching this, you're probably a business owner, founder of either a small business or a startup, and you have business clients, and you're looking to increase your revenue. Maybe you don't have a sales system. Maybe you know that once you talk to your clients, you get them. Once you talk to your prospects, you're able to close, but maybe you don't have a pipeline. Maybe you had a lot of sales last quarter, so you haven't been building up your pipeline, and all this a sudden that's dry. And now you need new people in your funnel. One client I worked with once called them balloons. Like she'd say, there's all these, you have to have all these balloons in the air. I don't like how my arm looked like that. So you have to have all these balloons in the air. So then they're going to pop, right? So meaning some of them are going to close. But you got to have a lot in the air. So you got to have a lot of balls in the air. But I look at them like the balloon, pop, pop, pop. And so think about it that way. And you always want to be filling up that pipeline or having more balloons or whatever you call it out there. But if you don't have any right now, that's you should have told me that last month. So right now we're here because you need to get them. You need to get sales fast. Okay. So that's the first thing, is look at your fastest to money. Just take out whether it's a piece of paper or if it's a Google Doc, just look at it and write down and always ask the question, instead of saying, oh, I don't have any prospects right now, you want to frame it and say, who can I close quickly? Where is the fastest to money for me? Where is the lowest hanging fruit? Who could I onboard this week, this month? So you always want to frame it like that, because then it gets your brain to start thinking and telling you who those people are, instead of telling your brain, I don't have anyone right now. So we want to look at, or another way to look at it is, I wonder who my next client's going to be. And that's always that. Sometimes there's some woo-woo to that as well, because sometimes that client shows up. And then what you want to do is you want to set up back up. You want to look at what has worked for you in the past. So that's really important to track what is working for you. So you can look at your past clients. Who do you have now? Who are your current clients? And by the way, the most important way to increase sales is to love on your current clients and give them everything that they within reason, right? But make sure that your current clients are happy, because you want to keep them being consistent clients as well. Look at how you got those clients. Take out that notepad or Google Drive or whatever it is, and make sure you know every client you're working with now, how they came in through the door, and then execute that into your sales strategy. For example, for me, for my coaching business, I look at, there's a few different ways where I get clients. One is there's an online forum, and this is just for me, this is a specific one for me. So I always want to have an online forum where I can answer questions and be of value. So for me, there's a group of women in tech that I belong to, and I look at the daily thread and I search for people looking for startup advice and new business advice. I answer the question, and usually the person whose question I reply to books a call with me, and then other people who have also read the thread also book calls with me. So that's one way that I consistently get clients. So I'm going to look at that and say, okay, am I doing this? Have I dropped off? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I get I get distracted. Sometimes I don't keep doing that. So when I need to remind myself, okay, what are the things that have worked for me in the past? And then I'll go back to that and I'll make sure that that's still in my sales strategy today. The other thing that consistently works for me is cold emails. I am a fan of cold email outreach, not because I love spamming people, but because it works. There's a lot of elements to it, and making sure that your campaign is well written. And it's also just as important that you have consistency in your follow-up. HubSpot's done some reports on this, and they show that there's an average, I think it takes an average of I've read anywhere from 7 to 18 touches to actually close a sale. And most prospects say no 4 times before they actually close. So, and 44%, these statistics are from a HubSpot study, 44% of sales people do not follow up after the first call. How crazy is that? So that's another way to look at the fastest of money. How much money have you been leaving on the table? And by the way, if you've emailed somebody once, that's leaving money on the table. So that's another thing to look at. Okay, what leads have I already generated? And then I would put them, so say you've only emailed them once, maybe even twice, I would put them back into a cold email sequence. So it's just as important what you say. I would say it's even more important how many times that you send that email. I got, for example, one of my clients was a content marketing company. Our product was 3 articles that we would write for the people in C-level roles, like the CEO, chief marketing officer, and we charged $18,000 for 3 articles. And through cold email, I closed deals with the C-suite of Oracle, the CEO of Girl Scouts. We got a chief marketing officer from a division of Microsoft. Okay, we worked with Department of Homeland Security. So big, giant organizations who opened our cold email. So cold email really works. And if you only email once, it doesn't count. Occasionally you'll get a reply to the first email. With the Girl Scouts CEO, when somebody who was on my sales team, who I was managing, she sent the first sequence, which had 7 emails. So that means the person's going to get, I'm sure you've been on the other end of it. She got 7 emails. And when the person replies, they get taken out of the sequence. So this person got 7 emails, and usually if it is a CEO, it's their assistant who's getting them. Then the sequence stopped because we just had it written at 7 emails. Then a couple of months later, that person was no longer on our sales team. I said, I'm going to go back to those leads because we had a ton of leads that person had sourced. I went back and I put all of those contacts who hadn't replied to us back in a sequence. And Girl Scouts, I think it was email number 13 that they finally replied to. Okay, so look at what leads you have already reached out to and anything that hasn't been touched in a while. And if you do use my sales prospect tracker, there's going to be a link in the description. Then there's a field that will tell you how long it's been since your last touch. Okay, so look at what you've already done and how can you leverage that? How can you use work that you've already done instead of reinventing the wheel and starting from the very beginning? Those are a few tips to generate sales quickly. Look at the leads you've already generated. Look at go back to the people you've already talked to. Connect again with people, especially if you've only connected with them once or twice, and look at what is the fastest to money. and make sure that you are vocal, that you let people know what you're doing. And I'm always experimenting. I always like to have, if it's like a pie, I always like to have 3 different strategies that I'm doing at once. And then I might shift and see what works and what's not. So I always have a cold email campaign going on in the background. It's automated. I use virtual assistants who help me with it. So I created the script myself. I did it myself for a while to make sure that I saw what worked. That's a common mistake, is when people hire really quickly, or when if you don't have a sales process and you don't know what has worked, then you're kind of shooting in the dark. And it's not, even if you hire someone really good, it could be a waste of money because they may not know how to close sales for your business. So as a founder, it's important that you are able to actually do that first and experiment and then you can delegate it to a virtual assistant. So I always have something going on in the background, and I'm emailing hundreds of people every week, but I'm not actually emailing them. It's a whole system that I've created. So there's emails going out, several different email domains, and I'm gonna teach on that as well. So if you want more info on how to get that done, let me know. And then and then the other thing is, in those sorry, it's really dry. I just moved to Arizona and it is so dry here. I'm sure, of course, and it's the desert, but I moved from Malibu, California, where it's so humid, and now making videos, I'm like, okay. And the other one, so the cold emails is one thing that I always do. It's always there. It's a no-brainer. I used to do it myself, and when I did it myself, sometimes it was it wasn't super consistent. That's why I knew I had to hire people to help me to do that. I also have that forum that I recommended, or the one that I do. Find an online forum where people are talking about what you do, provide value. People will reply to you, and then try different things. One of the things that I do, this is my last bonus tip, because I can't talk anymore. One of the things I do that's been working well for me is go to LinkedIn, and I search in the search bar. I do a search for business coach recommend. I have gotten amazing clients that way. What happens is I go to LinkedIn and the free account, and I search business coach recommend, and then I select posts. So I get posts where people are asking for a business coach recommendation, and I play around with different words as well. And then I message them, and I get clients that way too. So those are 3 different ways that are fast to get clients, and you can close clients pretty quickly when you're doing things like that. And if you want more, I work with clients one-on-one, and am building a sales curriculum so that you can get your systems in place and you can close more sales in your business. So reach out and click on my prospect tracker to make sure that you're keeping track. That's gonna be a really easy, simple way. Like, you can use a CRM, a contact record management system, which are great, but it's just a down and dirty little spreadsheet that's super organized, that's going to help you to just get it done. And that's one final thing, is ditch the perfectionism, because if you're waiting for everything to be perfect, it's never going to happen. So get out there and sell. Let us know how it goes, and happy entrepreneuring.